Well, if you're like me, and I know I am, I used to love to make desserts back when I was on Earth. But since I've been exiled here to the satellite of Random Dish Love, I have to wait for the evil Mads to tell me what dessert to make. And it's kind of funny how this kitchen in no way looks like the one I had back on Earth. I'm Victoria Cooksey, and this is the Random Dish Satellite of Love. The Mads are calling. Okay, sirs, what's today's experiment? Banoffee pie it is. To start the caramel sauce for the pie, I've taken a large saucepan, filled it almost all the way up with water, got it just coming to simmer, set a bowl over the top. And in this, I've got a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, and I'm going to cover this up with some foil next. I've gone ahead and covered this up with foil, so you're just going to let that sweetened condensed milk just keep heating over the water for the next 2 hours. Maybe check the water once, make sure you're not running out of water, but other than that, you just leave it alone for a couple hours, and then usually then I'll uncover it for about another half hour so I can keep an eye on it and let it really thicken up a little bit more. So today's experiment is the Banoffee pie, and Banoffee pie is more of like a British dessert, and when I was back on Earth I got to go to Ireland and have Banoffee pie quite a few times there. So it's traditionally, you got your graham cracker crust, you've got caramel, you got bananas, whipped cream, a little chocolate. Can't go wrong there. So we've already got the caramel started and it's on the stove, but for the next step, do what I do and make the crust next. First step in the crust is get out your food processor, and then you need 9 of these large graham crackers, so basically 1 packet out of the box. We're going to put these in and just kind of break them up a little bit. 2 tablespoons of packed dark brown sugar and an 1/8 teaspoon of salt go in. Put the lid on. It's got the lid on. Now I'm going to pulse it to break this up. Now that it's broken up, I got to putting a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract into a 1/2 cup, 8 tablespoons of melted butter. And we're going to let this run and drizzle that in. Put your graham cracker mixture into a 9-inch pie plate. And then just take the back of a cup or a ramekin and we're going to start just packing this down. And at first it's going to stick a little bit or not spread around, so you just keep working it. And as you go, kind of push some up on the sides. Got the crust assembled. Now some people like to bake their crust, and you certainly could at this point. I don't like to do that with this particular dish. I like the texture of it non-baked. So what I do is I just kind of set this aside and the butter will cool down on its own, and this is going to set. For this pie, you could actually just slice up the bananas and stick it in, but instead we're going to caramelize the bananas first to give it a little extra flavor. So to do that, I've got 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter starting to melt in a large non-stick skillet. As soon as the butter has melted and starts to bubble up, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of packed dark brown sugar. Get yourself a whisk and start stirring it in. At first, it's going to look like it's not going to come together, but just keep going and this is going to thicken up. Okay, you see that's come together, so now we got to get the bananas ready. Got 3 large bananas. We're just slicing those up so you can put them in to caramelize. Okay, remember this is hot, so be careful, but we're going to start putting our bananas in a single layer. I'm going to squeeze on 1/2 a lemon here, just get all the juice out. Keeps the bananas from discoloring, and it adds a little bit of flavor. Bananas have been cooking for about a minute, so now I'm just kind of carefully flipping them over. Bananas are ready, so we're going to take this, and it's okay to get some of that sugar because that's just going to add another extra bit of flavor. So got our bananas in the crust, and now I've got that caramel that we made earlier, and you can see it's definitely a lot darker than when we put the condensed milk in. You're just going to bring that over the top. Got the caramel in the pie, so we're going to let this cool down a few minutes and then put some saran wrap over it and stick this in the refrigerator for around an hour and a half until it's cooled off, because we want it to be completely cool before we put whipped cream on top of it. To finish off this pie, I went ahead and took 2 cups of whipping cream and whipped it with 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla extract until it was pretty thick, and then spread it on top of the pie. For our garnish, I got some unsweetened cocoa powder, and I'm going to sprinkle that all over the top. I've got 70% dark chocolate right here that I've microwaved for just 10 seconds. And I'm going to use a vegetable peeler to start making curls. And by microwaving it a few seconds, it kind of brings a little bit more of a curl versus just a shaving. I'm going to show you a quick, kind of interesting way to decorate the plate. Putting 2 forks down and kind of try to center them a little bit, and I'm actually putting them upside down. Then I'm going to take a little cocoa powder and just dust around it, and dust around the other one. You can go up the sides of it a little bit too. Then when you take them off, got like little forks on your plate. And since this is a white plate, I'm using cocoa powder. If I had a black plate, I would use powdered sugar. The banoffee pie is plated and ready to go. What do you think, sirs?
Not bad, but what's for dessert?
My stalker finds me even up here in space.
You DVR'd this, right?